Morning grade 7s, welcome to lesson 6. In this lesson we are going to go through comparing and ordering decimal fractions. This is page 92 in your textbook. So it says here, we can order and compare decimal fractions, just like we do normal numbers. Always remember, ascending order is smallest to biggest, descending order is biggest to smallest. And when we are comparing two decimals, we use our inequality symbols, our greater than, less than, and equal to symbols. And if you think back to grade 5 and 6, I always used to tell you, the crocodile always faces the biggest number. So if we have a look at the first example. Okay, the first example says, compare the following using greater than, less than, and equal to symbols. So basically we're going to do the same as what we do normal numbers. You're first going to look at your whole numbers. If they are the same, they can't help you, then you're going to go on to your first decimal place. If that can't help you, then you go to your second decimal place. So you're just going to look in order. So if I look at the first one, my whole numbers, 15 and 15. They're both exactly the same, so that doesn't help me. So I need to go to the first decimal place. We've got 7 and 7, it still doesn't help me. 9, so now we go to the second decimal place, 9 and 2. Straight away, I can tell you that 9 is bigger. So I don't even have to look at the rest of the numbers. I know that 9 is bigger in my second decimal place, so straight away I put my symbol in. So the first number is greater. Same thing with the second one. Our whole numbers, 0 and 0, it doesn't help me. Let's go to one decimal place, 0 and 0, again it doesn't help me. Second decimal place, 0 and 2. So what's bigger between 0 and 2? The 2 is obviously bigger, so straight away we know that the decimal on the right is bigger. Okay, the next one, we've got the whole number 3 and 3. Then we have the first decimal place, 4 and 4. Then 0, 0. So far it's exactly the same. Now we get to the next decimal place. This one has a 0, but this one has nothing. Now what I want you to take note of, any decimal, I can add a 0 on the end and it means the same thing. I can put 5 zeros on the end and it will mean the same thing. Zeros on the end of a decimal, the fractional part, don't affect the actual decimal. So those don't affect it, but if I had to put a 0 before the 4, then it would affect it. So here I can see I've got 3,400. Here I had 3,40. I added a few more zeros, it doesn't change the number. So these two decimals are exactly the same, so they are equal. They equal the same number because the zeros at the end don't matter. So I could have 5 zeros here and 10 zeros here. It's exactly the same thing. Okay. Then we go to example 2. It says arrange the following into descending order. Now remember, descending order is biggest to smallest. So if we have a look at the numbers, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my pencil and I'm going to write a little number 1 and a little number 2, whichever one comes first. So descending order, we are looking for the biggest one first. So let's check their whole numbers. We've got 13, 13, 13, 13, 13. So all the whole numbers are 13. It doesn't help me. Please take note of one thing. Our decimals are separated by semicolons. Okay? The comma is the decimal comma. So that doesn't separate a number. 13,429 does not mean we have the number 13 and then the number 429. That is one decimal. So a semicolon, remember semicolon is this one, the comma with the dot on top. That is the one that separates decimals, not a comma. Okay, so we said all the whole numbers are the same. Let's look at the first decimal places. We've got 4, 2, 0, 9, and 4. So 42094, what's the biggest one? Well, obviously it's the 9. So we know that decimal over there will be our biggest one because the first decimal place is the biggest. Okay, then we said 42094. So 4 would be our next, well, smaller one under this one. But now we've got 13,492 and we've got 13,429. So which one's bigger between 429 and 492? It would be this one, 492. So we know that's our second one. And obviously then this would be our third one. Now we're left with these two. Now we need to see which one's bigger between the two. So our first decimal place was a 2 and a 0. So which one is bigger? The 2 is bigger. So that's our fourth one. And obviously this one will be our last one. So if I write them in order, my first decimal will be 13,942. Then semicolon, I would have 13,492, semicolon. Then I would have 13,429, semicolon. Then I would have 13,294, semicolon. And the last one is 13,0942. So there are my decimal fractions in descending order. So you first have a look at the whole numbers, then you compare first decimal place, then second decimal place, and you just keep moving on. If it doesn't help you, you move on to the next number. Right, that's the end of part 1, lesson 6. In the next lesson, we will be going through equivalent forms.